Hey guys, what's up? It's Liberate the Vanguard here once again. Yep, I'm doing a barrage of videos today because I've got a lot of decks to show. Well, not a lot, mainly two and a lot of projects that I just showed you. But anyways, so I've got this great Granblue deck. It's the first deck I started the game on, the deck I learned the game on. So I'll explain a little bit about that wacky scenario for any of you who actually want to watch. But yeah. This will be my last deck tech for the night, and then hopefully by next week I'll have a Thing Saver deck up and on here, and after that I'm just going to try and get new stuff up once a week, so just keep looking out for my channel, and here we go. Starter, Captain Nightkid. Arguably the best starter for Granblue. It's Forerunner and Counterblast 1, shove it into Soul, and pick anything out of the top 10 and throw it into the drop. It's just great for setting up your combo plays, and I'll explain my combo plays with this deck at the end. It's a really interesting way to play Granblue, and over my 2 years, 3 years, somewhere around there, of playing with this clan on and off, I've discovered that this is probably the best way, in my opinion, to play the deck. So, anyways, I'll show that to you in a couple minutes. So, with the release of Fighters Collection, we got some much-needed support. And by much needed, I mean a new boss card that didn't mill out your deck when you tried to bring stuff back to the drop. I did not like Cocytus Reverse. I was not happy with Cocytus Reverse. It upset me. It upset me greatly. But now we've got Ice Flow, yes, I'm saying that right. Ice Flow Swordsman, Nightsnow. And what Nightsnow's skill is Counterblast 1 and choose one of your rear guards and retire it. Call a unit from the drop and it gets +5. And you can't use that for the rest of the turn. Really good skill. It gets some key cards out of the drop with a power boost. And it's not real picky about what you do. The only part I don't like is that you can only use it once per turn. But if I guess if you used it more than once a turn, it'd be kind of unbalanced. Secondary skill is a drop zone skill, and it's Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 2, and if you have a grade 3 Vanguard, ride this. So basically what this does is it accelerates your ride to a break ride. So if you're sitting on, spoiler alert, Night Mist, you can just be like, okay, I'm going to use 2 of my Counterblasts, Soul Blast 2, and break ride on it the turn it's played. Because you want to speed up your game and you want to make the game shorter in a timed tournament. I have played with this in quite a few tournaments, both the old Cocytus build and this Nightsnow build, and I have topped in my locals quite frequently with this deck. Actually, at both of my locals. Just won a double, or not a double box tournament. That's 2 weeks from now. Just won a box tournament, actually, with this deck. It crushed everyone, went 4-0 in all my matches, and it was a 3-set match, so all in all, it was a really good day. But yeah, Granblue is a deck most people don't expect, so they don't prepare for, and it really catches them by surprise, especially when the deck is played well. Next, for my grade 3s, I have 4 Night Mist. Night Mist was a card this clan desperately needed. I say that about most break rides, except for Ashley, because Ashley's awful. But Night Mist just made the deck so much better, because his skill gives +10 to your Vanguard, and when a unit break rides, you can call out 2 cards from your drop and give them +5. Any cards, for free. Only catch is they go back to the drop zone at the end of turn. But with this skill, you're going to want to plus as much as you can, and I'm going to show you how to do that, because I've come up with a great strategy in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions too. I get a lot of hatred for this deck, because people don't know how to beat it. I rarely lose with this, and yeah, I just love the deck. It's great. It really is. So next I run 4 Ruin Shades. 2 reasons. Number 1, he's an 11k attacker, and power is an issue that this deck always had and always will have. It doesn't get a lot of power and a lot of pressure. And number 2, because he puts 2 cards into the drop zone every time you use that skill. And you want stuff in the drop zone. It's great to have in the drop zone. It's better than your hand, actually, because you can do a lot more with your drop than you can do with your hand. Next, I run 4 Dragon Corroded Corrupt Dragon. Redundant name, yeah. And it's a 12k attacker when it's placed on rear guard from drop zone, for that turn only. I like the card. I think it was needed. 12k attacker, definitely needed in this format, but going into the next one, not so much. I'm looking forward to the Legion support, so this card will be coming out. But for right now, it is a good option, and it's very helpful. It really is. Great for power plays. Next I run, this is going to be strange, 2 Sea Navigator Silver. Everyone questions me on this. And this is actually an idea I borrowed from my buddy. He runs Navigator Silver in his deck. He doesn't run the same strategy as me, but he runs them for the same purpose. They're a pressure card. This deck, if you let something hit, the only thing that's going to happen is you might get double critted. That's really about it. There is no threat in this deck. This card actually gives you a little bit of a threat. It's a weak grade 2. It's only a 7k, so at worst case, it's guard fodder, 5k shield. I'm okay with that. But its skill is when you have 4 or more other Granblue rear guards, draw a card if the attack hits. It's a standard card. It's in every clan, or just about every clan, or should be in every clan. But people don't use it because it's a low power. If you ride on it, it really, really sucks. But you can come back for it, and at best, he's a pressure card. At worst, he's shield for you. And shield is always good. And next I run 2 Deadly Spirit. Just because if something winds up killing off my field, I don't have a way to get access to my Vanguard skills, whatever, I got something in the drop that can get me a little bit of shield in time for when I need it. Next I run 4 Gushin. I have been wishing since this clan was printed that we would get another perfect guard. I love Gushin. I don't love the price. It took me forever to find these originally. It took me forever to get them back. Next, I run 4, count it, 4 Dandy Guy Romario. Just because he's an 8k vanilla, it makes him really solid. It gives him really good boost. And you can just hit some really good numbers with this. That's really why I run it. No other purpose. Next, I run the MVP of this deck. 3, Sea Strolling Banshee. Her skill is when this card is called out of the drop zone, you can Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. This card is phenomenal. People undervalue her, they underrate her because she's a grade 1 6k. She is phenomenal, and she really made this deck step up a level in play because I can't tell you, whenever I call something out of the drop, it's usually 1 or 2 of these because they are just phenomenal. I can Soul Blast 1, make use of that soul that I've been sitting on for so long with Granblue, that I've been sitting there and been like, I wish I could do something with this. Now I can. It trades a soul unit for a card in your hand. Defensively, that's a great trade-off, and this deck doesn't use much soul, but it builds it up. With break riding constantly, you're going to build it up. This card just allows me to create so much plussing. Next I run 2 Deadly Nightmare for the purpose of 2 Deadly Swordsman. In case I need it, it's there. If not, it's a good 7k booster. I really can't complain about it. Finally, I run 4 heals. Yes, I know they're different. I couldn't find a 4th Doctor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 criticals. I didn't mean not to run the nice critical that lets you draw a card if you put it in the soul. It's just, it's hard to find them. I don't know where to find them. If anyone's got suggestions, hit me up because I just can't find them. And then 3 stand. Number 1, because I can't find the criticals. And number 2, because the stands actually have a really good skill. And I think I'll run 2 once I find the criticals that I need. The stand skill is when it's in the drop zone and you have a grade 3 Granblue placed on your Vanguard circle, you can call this to rear guard. It's only a 3k body, but it works in great combination with Nightsnow, because Nightsnow's skill doesn't require the card you sacrifice to be a certain grade. So if you get this free out of the drop zone, you don't feel bad about sacking it off to get something much, much better. You really don't. So the main thing I do with this deck is I spam the Banshee. This card I spam so much. I usually get 2 of her in my drop zone, which is why I'm okay with only running 3, because normally 1 or 2 of her hit my drop zone, and that's really all I need. And what I do is I just spam Break Ride. I Break Ride, over Break Ride, over Break Ride, over Break Ride, until I can't find any more Break Rides in my deck, and then I go Nightsnow. And each time, I'm building up more soul and using Banshee skill. So some games end up with a ridiculous hand of 15, of 12 cards, of 10 cards, versus my opponent's 7 card hand, 5 card hand, 1 card hand. And I just drown them. Like, not to sound cheesy or anything, because it's Granblue and it's all about the murky depths, but I drown them in attack. So I just keep chipping away at their 6 points of damage until they can't do anything about it. And meanwhile, I keep building up my hands so that way I don't run out of shield. So that's a deck build in a nutshell. I just love this deck. I started with it. It is arguably one of the hardest decks in the clan, so said by most card fighters. Sorry, one of the hardest decks in the game, and it's one of the hardest clans to master, said by most card fighters, because you really got to know what to do with it. You got to know when's the situation to use skills and when it is not. You don't just go spam happy for no apparent reason. There is a reason behind it, and every decision you make affects each of your zones, so you have to keep really good track of what you're doing. So it is definitely not meant for a beginner player, but I did it, and it was awesome. And now that I'm really not a beginner player, I'm much more advanced at this level, I can really appreciate what the deck is and what the deck has to offer. So glad I've got this thing back. I will be doing an update for it with the Legion stuff coming out next week. I probably won't have that up for another 2 to 3 weeks, because I'll just take some time compiling the stuff that I need. And otherwise, I'm just going to keep posting as many deck texts as I can and try to get material up every week. So, peace and stay Vanguard.